of Christiani Nielsen. What happened was the headquarters in Copenhagen. The banks came in. There'd only ever been two managing directors, or they called them presidents. They sacked the president, and who was the son of the founder. He was about 80, and the founder had died at 86, still in the traces. So they'd had no renewal for 80 years, and this all of a sudden they had a 35-year-old banker from New York come in, and he decided he knew nothing. He knew absolutely nothing. He was an accountant. He decided to close all the third world countries, and of course, as far as he was concerned, Australia was another third world country. So that's how that happened, and it was very much in their interest for me to take it over because they had substantial bonds out, which that was a huge risk. Everyone advised me not to take it, but I took the risk to assume their bonds and convince the banks that I had the wherewithal to do so, and on the strength of that, they sold me the company for peanuts. Canstruct was born there in 1978 or 79, I think, by the time the company was formed. Basically, Canstruct is a continuation of Robin Murphy, contractor from 1966. Through a number of iterations and a couple of gaps when I had to go and get a job because I had no money, but only twice. Twice that happened to me, each time for 2 years. So really, for the 50 years since I started Margaret and I started in 1966, there's been two times once when I worked for John Holland for 2 years, and once when I was the managing director of Christiani Nielsen, but that was more or less the same company. So anyway, Canstruct started as standing for Christiani Nielsen, the CAN. It started in 1988, and it started pretty small. The first thing I had to do is get rid of those bonds, which I mentioned before. I had these bank bonds, and that was a high risk thing, because if the banks had closed me, they could have closed me down the first day, and I don't think they knew how serious it all was. But I knew how serious it all was, and I also knew how to. I thought I knew how to fix it. It sort of goes back to looking at the risk, and I also had a bit of a political in with somebody who was able to get a good result for me very quickly. So that was the start. So once that was done, I knew we weren't going to go broke, which is very, very close at that point. So then I started tendering well, it didn't start, I'd already been tendering for years, but managed to win quite a lot of jobs, good jobs, really, really good jobs. A lot for the railways. We did at least 100 spans of railway bridges between here and Cairns in the 90s. A lot of work in the Torres Strait. All these jobs are fairly remote and difficult, and hard to get on with clients that are sometimes hard to get on with, short time frames. So we specialised in those. We built a lighthouse out in the ocean. We built lots of water supplies in the Torres Strait, which was very difficult to do. This sort of thing, yeah. So then at that point, Dan came in to work with me. When he was 18, and he's basically worked in this company. He's now 45. He had his birthday yesterday. He's been here 27 years, which. Except for one time he went away for a couple of years to Canada. Adrian had a degree in chemical engineering. He came and worked for us in about 1990, and he's been here ever since. And Rory came along in about 6 or 8 years ago, in 2007 or 2008. So and each time they've brought something new, and we've been able to expand our repertoire, if you like, of what the sort of jobs we can do. And so, and we've also been very successful, particularly through Rory's efforts of getting joint ventures with various people, and including some really big ones. So we've got one now that's worth, that's currently up to about $500 million. So this is fairly good job, considering that the first job was for $78,000, a long time ago. Well, the one I told you before, where the people went bankrupt, Seafood Online, and they went bankrupt and left us in the lurch for about $500,000, which hurt very badly. The ones in New Guinea, I had absolutely nothing left at the end, nothing, zero. I mean, I couldn't believe how poor I was. And, I had Margaret and the 2 kids and a pregnant wife. So that's what I came out of New Guinea with.